Welcome to this tutorial on the PDR professional destruction process. The first thing we'll do is we will select a test registry, so we have some data to play around with, and as usual we'll log in as the system user with the password of system and log in. Okay, the destruction process is a staged process where documents are first identified for destruction, then they're moved to awaiting destruction. And the reason for that is they need to be checked and they then need to be sort of held in a holding area until such time that they are actually destroyed. And then once the documents are actually physically destroyed, they then moved into a destroyed status. Okay, so the whole process starts with us creating a destruction certificate. So we select the destruction menu, and here we say add destruction details. Now, the destruction details are all the details required on the front of a form 426 destruction certificate. And as most destruction certificates may be completed with similar fields, there is a load screen option. If we select the load screen option, it shows us all of the current destruction certificates within the system and allows us to load this screen with the contents of a previous destruction certificate. This will save us a lot of typing when we create the certificate. So let's just pick this one at the top, 1148. If we double click that, all of these fields are pre-populated with that information, and here we will put a new destruction certificate identifier or reference number in there. We'll put 52s. And we'll make this reference here, we'll just change this to 52s, and there's another button here, set dates to today's date, because don't forget these dates have all been copied from the previous one that we loaded in. So we'll set dates, and then all these dates have been set to today's date, and then we save that away. That is now saved. So we now have a destruction certificate 22222. So what we do now, in order to destroy documents, we have to attach those documents to that certificate. And we can do that by selecting Documents, Document Destruction, and Mark Documents for Destruction. So when we mark documents for destruction, the system is asking us to identify a set of documents that we wish to destroy. So let's say, for instance, we wanted to destroy all of the documents let's say within the fire section. We select, oh, there aren't any, that's a shame. Let's pick the AWC, and we have 32 documents, and we can see here there's a number of microfiche. So let's come out of that. Let's say, for instance, to get a smaller list, we want to delete or destroy all the items from the AWC of a media type microfiche. That then gives us 8 documents. We can select all of those and OK, and it then says which destruction certificate do we want to add those documents to. Now this screen here shows us all of the certificates that are currently in the open state. Okay, now the open state means that they haven't been closed awaiting or they haven't been closed destroyed. It means that these destruction certificates can be added to. Okay, so you can have multiple certificates open at the same time. And this screen also shows us that the destruction certificate identified by 5 number 2s has 0 documents associated with it, whilst 1148 has 6 documents associated with it, and 3170 also has 6 documents. Now this plus sign here indicates that 1148 destruction certificate contains documents attached to it that have a specified type of caveat, and those caveats can be defined through the configuration, through the reference data, and if any one of those caveats appears on that certificate, then a little plus sign there indicates that is the case. So we'll say we want to attach these 8 documents to that certificate. Okay, and we'll OK that. 8 documents updated and marked for destruction. And that's it. So those documents are now marked for destruction. If we go to view them, we can type in the destruction reference there, and that brings back all 8 all 8 documents now, and as we can see here, they're all now changed to a pending status. Okay, so they are attached to the certificate. So the next stage is we want to move into the closed state. So we go to destruction, close destruction, close destruction awaiting. Now, close destruction awaiting is the status whereby the destruction certificate itself is closed, but the documents on that certificate have not necessarily been physically destroyed. There will always be a period of time where the unit or section, department, whatever, destroys a document and puts it in a bag awaiting collection by the destruction agency. So as far as the registry is concerned, they are destroyed, but they haven't actually physically been destroyed yet. And that doesn't happen until the agency takes them away, destroys them in an incinerator or whatever, and then a certificate is returned stating to the effect that those documents have now physically been destroyed. But the status this is at now is we want to close the certificate. So we'll close the certificate. It gives us an update here, a little visual indication. Are these the ones that we want to close, and do we want to change them to awaiting destruction? And we say yes, and we get an indication that those documents have now been moved into the awaiting destruction status. Okay, and then they appear off the off this list. Okay, so the next stage is those documents, let's say they've been taken to the destruction agency, a certificate has been returned maybe 2 weeks later saying that these documents have now physically been destroyed. So we can go, well, first of all, let's just check on what status they're at now. So if we go to view those documents, we can now see that all those 8 documents are in the awaiting destruction status. And now let's say that we get a certificate coming back saying that those documents have actually been destroyed. So now we go to destruction, close destruction. Now we say close destruction, destroyed. So this is the final stage. This means now that those documents have physically been destroyed. And we get a list come up saying which one of these certificates do we want to move into that status. And the only documents that we can move to physically destroyed status is those documents that are in the awaiting destruction status. And as we can see, our document is there, number 2, so we'll OK that. And again, it says what date were they actually destroyed, so we can say that that was the 17th or whatever, OK that, and those documents have now been destroyed. And it goes off the list, so we can verify that now by doing a view document. And we can see now that all these documents are in the destroyed state. Okay, and if we double click that, we can see the status is destroyed. Okay, now if you wanted to print off a destruction certificate, we can select Report, Destruction Report, something that document was in the closed status. So again, this list box will only show us those items that are actually in the closed status. So we select the 2. Now this screen comes up and provides us with an option of including multiple references on the destruction certificate. Because on the document you can have the primary reference, secondary reference A and secondary reference B, and we may or may want to include all references. So for our purposes we'll just include the primary reference, and this little checkbox here says do we want to include today's date printed in the date boxes of the destruction certificate, or is that going to be left blank so the authorizing officer can actually annotate the dates as and when the signature is applied to the certificate. So that is again a local thing for you to decide. So I'm going to print the dates on the certificate, select OK, and then the system goes away and produces a form 426 automatically for us with all of the information of the destroyed documents. And these are the 8 microfiche documents that we have destroyed. And it gives us copy numbers, dates of origin, titles, etc. And down the bottom it's showing us the details, and again we elected to have the dates printed in, so these 3 dates or 4 dates have been printed in, and the references included and the authorizing officer, etc. So the only thing that has to be done on this now is a signature applied, and that certificate is complete. And that's the destruction process.